Nobody talks about how disappointing the process can be. We talk about goals, we talk about momentum, we talk about clarity and breakthroughs, but we rarely talk about the part where you gave it everything and it still didn't work out. The job you didn't get, the opportunity that fell through, the launch that flopped, the dream that felt so close until it wasn't. And that gap between what you hoped would happen and what actually did happen, that's where disappointment lives. And most people aren't prepared for it. Here's the thing about disappointment. It's not loud, it's quiet, it's heavy, and it sneaks in. You keep showing up, doing the work, putting in the time, and the payoff doesn't match the price that you paid. And in those moments, if you're not careful, you start writing the wrong story. You start thinking, maybe I missed it. Maybe I'm not as gifted as I thought. Maybe I'm not called to do this after all. And if you live in that story long enough, you stop. Not because you don't care, but because you can't carry that weight anymore. I've been there. There have been moments, even some this year, where I poured my heart into something, only for it to get met with silence. No feedback, no traction, no doors opening. And in those moments, I've had to ask myself, do I really believe in the work I'm doing? Even when it doesn't give me everything that I wanted in return, do I still believe in it? Because disappointment has this way of revealing what we're attached to. Are we attached to outcomes, or are we anchored in our purpose? Because if we're only in it for the applause or the affirmation or the metrics, disappointment will always feel like failure. But if we're anchored to purpose, disappointment becomes part of the training, part of the shaping, part of the process. Discipline doesn't just mean waking up early or sticking to your habits. It means knowing how to keep your heart open even when things don't go your way. It means saying, this didn't work out the way I hoped, but I'm still in it. Or that one hurt, but I'm still here. It's the internal resolve to stay steady when the results don't match the effort. And that's the kind of discipline that builds something deeper than results. It builds character. It builds strength. It builds trust in something greater than your own timeline. Think about the people you admire, the ones who do meaningful work, creating real impact and showing up with wisdom. They've all walked through disappointment. They've all launched things that didn't work. They've all heard no when they were hoping for yes. They've all been overlooked. They've all wrestled with doubt. But what makes them who they are isn't that they avoided disappointment. It's that they stayed with it. They let it shape them, not stop them. There's a line from Eugene Peterson I keep coming back to. It says, a long obedience in the same direction. That's what real leadership looks like. That's what real growth looks like. Not fireworks, not quick wins, but staying faithful when it's not easy, when it's not clear, when it's not instantly rewarding. Because in those seasons of disappointment, where everything in you wants to run or hide or quit, if you can choose to keep going, something powerful happens. You stop being driven by outcome. You start being led by conviction. So if you're in a hard season right now, maybe you feel discouraged, tired, unsure, where things aren't taking off the way you hoped, where the gap between your effort and your results feels a little too wide, I want to say this as clearly as I can. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're not disqualified. You're just in a chapter called disappointment, and it's not the last chapter in your story. So here's your invitation this week. Don't run from the disappointment. Learn from it. Ask yourself, what is this revealing about where I place my hope? Where am I being invited to let go of outcomes and lead deeper into purpose? What does it look like to keep going? Not because I'm seeing results, but because I believe in the work I'm doing. Because that's where real growth happens. That's where your voice gets shaped, where your story gets weight. And when you get through this chapter, when you come out the other side, you'll be able to look someone else in the eye and say, I know how that feels, and you're going to make it. And just like that, disappointment turns into wisdom. And that wisdom makes you the kind of person others trust. And that's what gives your life gravity. If this episode hit close to home, I'd love to hear about it. Send me a message or leave a comment below. What's one thing you're learning to carry differently in this season? And if you haven't already, hit subscribe because new episodes are dropping every Friday morning and we're just getting started. So until next time, let disappointment shape you, but don't let it stop you. You're still in it, and it still matters.